Welcome back, everyone. If you're still going through piles and piles of PDFs and Word documents and links, etc., to research whatever you're doing, whether it's research for academia or whether it's research for your business, well, today we're going to put an end to all of that. I've got 25 top tips to make you a NotebookLM Pro. Let's get into it. Okay, here we are in NotebookLM, and let's go for tip number 1, using a seed document to then go and get NotebookLM to do your research. So let's create a new notebook, and what I want to do is first of all upload a source. I've got some sources here. I've got a PDF. I'm going to pop that in there, and then so this is my sort of seed PDF. Then I want to be able to generate more information and papers based on this seed. So just copy the title, open Discover, put this in here, and then just go submit. And what it's doing now is taking that title and then going out and looking at more sources for that fit with that intellectual property rights protection and China and FDI. And there we go. So I've got a whole series of papers. What you can do is you can say, yeah, I want all of those, or I don't particularly want Wikipedia, just want the academic papers, PDFs. Say which ones you want, and then you go import, and it will import all of those. How to do research quickly and effectively. Let's move on. So for tip number 2, I've copied in a whole load of sources, including a webinar transcript, a couple of videos, a website, and some blog posts, all about agentic AI. And what I'm going to do is in here, so rather than saying, create me a frequently asked questions over here, I'm going to say, I go into here and say, create me a FAQ on the sources. So these sources over here, and label each answer to its origin. So this will give me a frequently asked questions from this source, and each one will be nicely labeled to the document that we have, the documents that we've uploaded. Just gives you a better understanding of your data and where it comes from. And if we look at what the FAQ that we would have produced from NotebookLMs directly, as you can see, it just gives you the information, doesn't link it to the specific documents, whereas on this one you've got the document links. That's tip number 2. Let's move on. Okay, so you want to bulk upload a whole load of sources. So here are a load of sources that I collected for my PhD on a specific subject area. Just copy them, drag them in. There we go. And basically you've got an instant literature review that you can start talking to, you can add notes to, you can look at, you can interrogate, easy as that. Drag them all in. There you go. Tip number 3. Let's move on. Tip number 4. So we've got all of these documents now in there. And what I've said is here, cluster these sources into themes and heat map the citation counts. See what we get. So what it's given me is it's gone through all of these documents and it's identified some thematic clusters. So product cycle models, intellectual property rights, measurements and determinants, impacts of IPR and TRIPS on FDI, empirical studies, determinants of FDI location. It's gone through and it's identified the themes from these papers, and then it's given me this heat map of citation counts. So it shows the core link, FDI determinants and IPR impacts, and then it's given the papers and said who is citing who, giving me the strength, themes, China as a case study, sets out the different papers and where there is cross-referencing, theoretical foundations, goes through, and what it's done is measured the amount of cross citations in these particular themes and highlighted the key papers. Really, really powerful if you're doing research. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so for tip number 5, I have uploaded my PhD thesis. It's enormous. And what I've said is generate 25 flashcards in a CSV table with front, back columns. See what we get. So you get your CSV file and then just copy it and go into Google Sheets and paste it here to get it into Google Sheets. Then go to Data, split text into columns. The separator here, just go comma. There we go. We've created front to back of these flashcards. Very cool. What I've done is created a PDF. So file, download as a PDF, and then go into Quizlet, get your PDF, boom, boom, generate, introduction to the research. What are the implications of the paradox of China's foreign direct investment strategies for UK M&Es? And then you have the sample answer. How does the OLI framework contribute to understanding FDI decisions on UK China's M&Es? And there you go. We've got flashcards you can use generated from that massive document using NotebookLM and in this case, Quizlet. Let's move on. Okay, so back in with my thesis and I've said generate a mind map and this is what we get. Here we go. So it's got intellectual property rights, a search question. You can upload this. How perception of IPR protection in China influences UK M&E's FDI decisions, which is the basic research question. And then you can look at the context, theoretical frameworks, methodology, key findings, zoom in. Really cool, really useful. And create your mind map, download it, and you've got basically you've got a picture of this that you can just drop straight into your presentations. And then if you wanted, you can open some bits up. Again, create another you can open these things up, create another picture, drop it into your presentation, use it as a table of contents in your presentations. Really cool. Mind maps, superb. Let's move on. Okay, I've moved over. So you get bored with just writing prompts all the time, having to work it out. Don't forget you've got these preset buttons here: study guide, briefing document, frequently asked questions, timeline, ask for a study guide. This is what you get. Really useful. Nice and quick, nice and easy. Use the presets. Fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, tip number 8, audio overviews. If you've got something big like this, generate an audio overview, generating there above me. Okay, so we get our audio overview. It's finally come. It takes some time. It took about 5 or 6 minutes, but that's okay. Let's have a listen.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine getting a real inside look, a shortcut maybe, to understanding the complexities of global business.
Yeah, the stuff that doesn't always make the headlines.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into a fascinating paradox. China, it's got this undeniable draw, right? A massive market for foreign direct investment, or FDI.
Huge pull. Everyone wants in.
But there are these persistent concerns over its intellectual property rights.
Very cool. Really, really cool. There you go. Create an audio overview. You can take it in your car. You can go for a walk. This one's 20 minutes. Really cool. Let's move on. Okay, so tip number 9, you've got your audio that we've generated and you can just jump in and start having a conversation with it. Let's see what that's like. So you've got your chat going and what you can do is start the conversation.
Draw, right? A massive market for foreign direct investment, or FDI.
Huge pull. Everyone wants in.
But oh, hey there, what's up?
Hi, why do you think he's chosen China to concentrate on?
That is such a great question, and we love that you're jumping in with those insights.
Absolutely. It really gets to the heart of why this research is so impactful.
So the study's author, Paul Noon, actually lays out a few key reasons for focusing on China.
First, China has just experienced this truly phenomenal surge in inward foreign direct investment over the last 2 decades.
Prodigious amounts of FDI, even with its reputation.
Right. It's like, how did that happen? Why are companies still flocking there despite the known issues?
It's a huge, growing, developing country, and it receives almost half of all FDI into the developing world.
What's fascinating here is that China shot up the FDI league tables, became a top destination.
But there are these persistent concerns over its intellectual property rights, IPRs. It's this constant tension.
Exactly. Its reputation for protecting IP has often lagged behind. So this study specifically zeroes in on that.
Amazing. So you can create an audio overview of your document, etc. And then you can actually have a conversation with it, and you can create this sort of podcast where you have the hosts that are chatting about your document, your the information that you've put in there, and then you can jump in and just ask clarifying questions. So cool. I mean, I know that this was seen as a party piece of NotebookLM, but very powerful if you're thinking about creating podcasts, etc. Really interesting. Let's move on. All right, so we're still in with our thesis, and what we want to do is to understand the sort of chronology of activity within the thesis. So let's create a timeline. And here we go. We've created a timeline. Let's have a look at what we've got. And here we have timeline, goes back to the Industrial Revolution, UK, understandings of IPRs, TRIPS data 2000, studies on Japanese M&Es, all the way through. We've got the PhD as the final draft, so pulling all of that together. Some key characters, the references, key references, really cool. Timeline, really interesting way to very quickly look at your data, look at your document, and really understand it. Let's move on. Okay, tip 11, nice and quick this one. Here we've got a document produced from this list of sources. Click on this button, the reference, and it gives you exactly the line that source is taken from. There's a way to do a quick fact check. Let's move on. Okay, tip number 12, merge and outline multi-notes. So over here, you've got all of your sources, and I'm just going to unselect them, and I'm going to select 6 of them. And then in the prompt, I've got merge these sources into a structured outline using H2 for major themes and H3 for subpoints. Preserve the citations. And let's say go. And what this is doing is taking just those documents that you've highlighted over there, and it will give you a structure that you could use for a blog, etc. There we go. Here's structured outline, improved IPR protection in China and its impact on multinational investment. And it then gives you the subheadings, landmark cases, search findings and IPR policy, key intellectual property protection in China. There you go. How cool is that? Did you know you could do that? Well, now you do. Let's move on. Okay, so for this tip, what I'm going to do is use ChatGPT to give me a better prompt for NotebookLM. So I'm going to use this prompt. So rewrite this prompt so another AI NotebookLM will A, answer concisely, B, include inline citations to my uploaded sources, and C, use numbered bullet points. Tell me what companies are doing to counteract Chinese IP weaknesses. So what I want is ChatGPT to give me a better quality prompt for NotebookLM, and then we'll go back into NotebookLM. We'll go into the notebook that has my thesis in it, and hopefully, here we go. We've got a new prompt. Copy that in. Let's have a look at the prompt that it's given me. Give me a concise, less than 120 word answer in numbered bullet points describing how firms respond to weaknesses in Chinese intellectual property protection at an APA style inline citation, author, year, after each point, draw from my uploaded sources. See what we get. So if I just asked, tell me what companies are doing, then I'd have got a looser answer without the APA stuff. And here we go. Invest in lower quality FDI or older technology, avoid investment for wholly foreign-owned enterprises, employ internal strategies, limit advanced technology and licensing, so limiting what they do. Cool. Use these tools together. I think that's something I've learned, I think, over the last few months, really, that actually using these tools together, using ChatGPT to get you the great prompt, maybe to polish some of your some of the output, but using NotebookLM, which will take a whole list of sources that you are working with and just work on those. Using these two things together, you can get really positive outcomes. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so number 14. First of all, I'm going to ask ChatGPT a question. What I've said is, please give me a detailed report on the methodology used in this thesis and give me the references. So what I want it to do is go through the thesis, make sure I've got all the references there. Goes through. It was quite a complex thesis with lots of references. And it gives me the sources provided, extensive references, academic authors. And so what I'm going to do is just copy these academic authors here. I'm going to go into ChatGPT, new chat. What I've done is pasted in all those references, and they're all in text ones. They're all in text ones. And what it's doing is looking through each of these authors, and it's searching the journals to make sure that they're there. Taking some time, going through wiley.com. So, and here it goes. So I've got done in 1976. Work was first presented in 1976, but not published until 1977. Use 1977 in your list. Goes through, does a check. This one is saying that it might not be there, so we'd have to go and find it. Howells, 2002. So is this something that's not quite right? And all the rest are fine. This one, year, mismatch. For Dillman, accurate, minor fix, replace or verify, no solid source found. There you go. Using NotebookLM to draw out the information, using ChatGPT to check all the sources. Great way to do an instant peer review if you're an academic. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this is tip number 15. I said, give me some key facts from this thesis. I'm going to copy one of those key facts, and I'm going to go into Perplexity. I'm going to pop it in. I'm going to first say, fact check this. And remember, it's come from a thesis, so it could be new knowledge. And then what I'm going to do is put it in academic mode and deep research. In academic mode, deep research on. Let's see whether this statement is true or not. So using Perplexity to do an academic search to check the veracity of a statement in the document that I had loaded into NotebookLM. The statement contains valid insights about FDI and intellectual property rights research, but requires careful analysis to assess its accuracy. Your claim about the need for disaggregation when studying FDI and IPR nexus is supported by substantial research evidence However, the relationship is more nuanced than stated. Of course, there's 1,000 pages to go at. Search literature provides strong support. Sexual differences matter. Company heterogeneity matters. FDI motive variations. Mixed finding explanation. In aggregate bias. Measurement issues, sample variations, methodological differences. Yeah, a way of fact-checking using NotebookLM to draw out the information, using Perplexity to do the fact-check. Very cool. Let's move on. Okay, this time I've asked NotebookLM to set out the main findings of this research. And what we're going to try and do is see, can we make those findings into a presentation? Here we've got the main findings. Nice. I'm going to copy those. I'm going to go into Gamma. Here we go. Create new. Import file, generate, paste in text. Let's paste in text. Boom. Let's put it in here. And I want a presentation. Additional. We don't need to do this. Generate from notes or an outline. Yep. Continue to the prompt editor. And I want detailed. So all the stuff from NotebookLM. And insert here. What I might do is, let's try this one. That looks quite nice. Go generate. So what I asked was, let's remember, I asked to give a detailed output straight in the findings from our PhD. I then dropped it into Gamma. And look at this. Look at this. And here I have my presentation. You saw that. So I haven't stopped this video while this was working. I got the information from NotebookLM. I dragged it and put it into Gamma, and it's produced this presentation for me. Pictures, identified the key areas, strategic responses and implications. How cool is that? If you want to learn more about Gamma, then have a look at the video that I'll post above. Anyway, that's using NotebookLM with Gamma. Very, very cool. Let's move on. Okay, for this one, we're going to the Chrome Web Store. So for a Chrome extension, and I've got NotebookLM here, and I want this NotebookLM web importer. I'm going to add it to Chrome. Now I've got this web importer. If you go into it, I'm going to unpin that one and pin that one. So I've pinned it up here. Now, if I go to NotebookLM, create a new, call it clips. Now I'm going to add to notebook. And then if I go to YouTube, there we go, how to get viewers on YouTube. And if I just add to notebook, and it will automatically go into the notebook. And I want to learn about ChatGPT, add to notebook. And we go back. Top PhD students, think like this. This is Dr. Andy Stapleton, great YouTuber. Let's add to this notebook. There we go. And then when I go into my notebook, there we go, I've got clips. I can have this running. When I go in, I've got all of those saved clips directly in there, and I can start working with them. So if you're doing some research, you're looking at how you can best gather that research, drop in the NotebookLM Chrome extension, and then whatever web page you're on, doesn't have to be a web page that is YouTube. Go into here. There's a blog of mine. I can then clip that into that notebook. Fantastic. And then once you've finished that, you can create a new notebook and you just go through. So rather than saving them, dragging them, dropping them, all that sort of thing, you can just add it to that particular notebook. And you go back into the notebook, and there you go. That document's there. How cool is that? That's going to save you a lot of time. Promise you. Go and get the Chrome extension. Notebook comes alive. You can use it while you are working without having to open, drag and drop, save things. Very cool. Let's move on. Tip number 18, super quick. NotebookLM. You've been working on this for hours because it's superb. Eyes are getting tired. Pop it into dark mode. Use less energy. Simple as that. Move on. Okay, so we've got this massive document, really complex. All we want to know is what variables were used in the survey. You can imagine going through page after page, noting them down, trying to work them out. There's a description of everything in there. I know it's all in there. How can I draw it out really quickly? Remember, this is a massive, massive document. There we go. Survey instrument used and research collected data on various aspects of UK multinational enterprises and their foreign direct investment decisions. Confirmatory data, their consent, company type, respondent, company identification. Foreign direct investment drivers, why they were doing foreign direct investment. Something about their products and services. Their intellectual property right considerations. And then questions about China. It gives me the exact question. It gives me a link to the actual question. Very cool. To get that information out of this thesis would take hours. You can just drop it in, get the information straight away. Bob's your uncle. Away you go. Cool. Let's move on. Got this big document. Don't quite know what to ask. So here we go. How do UK companies' perceptions of IPs in China influence their investment decisions? You've got some questions here. Move along. How can mixed method research approach enrich the understanding of IPRs? Gives me a question. You don't even have to write a prompt. It'll suggest some good prompts for you there. Very cool. Use them. They're informed. So they're worth using. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so as you can see, this can get a bit messy with untitled notebooks and all this sort of thing. What I would suggest is you go in and you rename your clips and you give them a title that is easily sortable. So I would perhaps have this one as start. Maybe start it off with A. And then we can actually just start clips. And then this one is edit title. And you can just add in right here, PhD, save. And this one is also related to the PhD. I'm going to pop this at the front, PhD, save. And then this is about blogging. So I'm going to write blog. When you go into your notebooks and you put list, then all of the ones that are similar will be grouped together just to help you manage. Now, if you buy the Pro version, then there are some other tools that you can use to manage your documents, etc. in this way, manage your notebooks. But on the free version, you're going to have to use something like this. Anyway, that's tip 21. Let's move on. This is tip number 22. Tip number 22, let's create a new site. Let's not bother with any of that. Let's go straight into Discover and say, so I've said download all the information from this website and put in my blog site. So it should go and scrape all that information. I'm particularly interested in the blogs. Great. And then import all of these, importing them. Lovely. Tells me what the site is about. Now I'm going to do a mind map, generating the mind map. It's generated the mind map. I'm going to open the mind map. what I'm going to do is just open all of these different areas, and I'm going to open up all of these areas as well. We've got one thing, some of them have got multiple things. This gives us sort of effectively not a sitemap, but a knowledge map of my website. Okay, and then I'm going to shrink it down to this. I'm going to export that as a picture. It's done. Okay, now in ChatGPT, I'm going to drag that mind map in here. I've got a prompt. I've created a prompt. Here's a map of topics I've already covered on AI. What interest themes are missing and what would resonate with small business owners? Let it go. It's got all this information, unreadable, as you saw. It's looking at the mind map, so it's going to have to zoom in, then looking outside, see what other areas are being covered. Okay, so creating a mind map of my website, dropping it into ChatGPT, so using NotebookLM for that, dropping it into ChatGPT, and then you can give me, it's given me a gap analysis of my website and things that I could add on, some quick pointers, etc. How cool is that? Hopefully you'll find that useful. Let's move on. So back in with the PhD, and you've had a long day, you're feeling a bit spicy. Let's try and do something that might be a bit fun. So I've said, rewrite the note on methodology as a Film-Noir film script. See what we get? So you can use personas, you can use styles, etc. Make it all pirate, for instance. It's always fun. See what we get? There we go. Paul News office at night, single desk lamp, cast long shadows across stacks of worn folders. That's what it's bloody like. Rumpled trench coat slung over his chair. Not quite. Cases landed on his desk like a ton of bricks. IPRs and FDI, international intellectual property rights. You get the idea. It's fun. Fade to black. So you can use NotebookLM for a bit of fun as well. Think about how you might use that. Let's move on. Okay, that was a bit of fun. Let's have a look at what you get if you upgrade to Pro. So you get more audio overviews to customize the style and tone. So you can change the colors, you can change that sort of thing. You can collaborate and share notebooks. And your data stays private to you. So I think if you are a business and you wanted to keep the data inside the business, then I think paying for the £14 a month would make sense. You get more AI tools, Gemini Advanced and Gemini in Gmail, Docs, Sheets and more. And then you get additional premium features, which are 2 terabytes of storage and some features through Google Workspace. So I'm not saying go through and get the paid version, because you can do so much with NotebookLM and not paying for it. But if you want these extra features, and I think they would be valuable, especially if you're using them regularly in a work setting, then have a look at paying for NotebookLM, getting the NotebookLM Plus. Okay, let's move on. You've done all this work with NotebookLM. You can do tons of stuff with it. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it. So if you go up here and share, you can add people in and groups, and then, or you can send a link and you can send it to them. So share your notebooks, make sure that they get all the information that you've been pulling together in your NotebookLMs. Sharing is caring. Okay, and that's the NotebookLM playbook. 25 hacks to turn NotebookLM from a really neat toy into a research war machine. Which tips are you going to use in your workflow first? Is it mind maps? Is it flashcard generation, Perplexity, double checking, fact checking, that sort of thing? Pause now and tell me down below which one you found most interesting. So if you've saved even 5 minutes, smash me a like and annihilate the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, and ring that bell, and then you'll get to hear of all the videos, because next week we're going to be doing something really exciting. I will put a cheat sheet down below so you can get all of these templates and prompts, etc. That will be on the website, and I'll put a link down below. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I really love NotebookLM. I use it a lot. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye for now.